Good evening, dear students. How are you all? So, last time we started to discuss about the factors that causes environmental imbalance. Oh, why the environmental balance collapses, right? Now, we'll continue that, right? Now, human beings utilize physical environment in different way. Mainly for their basic needs like food, clothes, like costumes and housing. So, and then for trade and transport and communication, right? So, when the population increased, what happened? Other needs are also increasing. That's what. Now, that is a problem that we face. Now, due to the modern technology and the increase of production, man has to go to a speedy journey, right? Surpassing the environment. So, when it is going, there are some certain uh, outcomes which will affect the environment, right? For example, when the population rises, we need a place for them to stay. We need a place for them to cultivate. So eventually, we have to clear lands. Clearing lands means destroying forests. Destroying forests means killing animals and all the ecosystem. That's what. Okay. So human beings have been doing this for a long time, and we don't consider about it as well, right? However, we don't exactly see the result, right? Mm. Now, a major problem, of course, is population. What is the major problem? Mm. Why are humans vanishing? Or too many people, or few? There are problems, right? So, like population is also a key factor here, right? So Indian population explosive is also there. Now I'll show you this. This is about India. Now all of a sudden it increased, right? Kapart
More than 1.4 billion people, India is now the world's most populous
1.2
country.
billion ඉන්නවා.
But rising unemployment is pushing young people to
මේ අර දැන් මේ ළඟදී ඉන්දියාවේ ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් ගිහිල්ලා ඉවරලා රස්සාවල් වලට පාරට බහැලා ලොකු සීන් එකක් ගියා. ඒ කියන්නේ රස්සාවල් නැහැ දෙන්න මිනිස්සුන්ට. ඒ තරම් මිනිස්සු ඉන්නවා. හිතන්නකො.
brink.
මේ දැන් ජොබ් එකකට ගිහින් ළමයි
मन करता है आदमी की जाए गंगा मैया में भी शादी नहीं होता ये क्या करे फिर भी आदमी उसी उम्मीद तो मम्मी का मुंह भैया का चेहरा देख के रुक जाता है
The state of Bihar has the highest birth rate in the country, and women here typically have 3 children.
चाहों के बाद और बच्चा नहीं होता ना उसका मुंह माहौल नहीं था अलग था तो उसने मम्मी 10 बच्चा कर लिया अभी तो माँ दीदी का भी
Authorities are struggling to persuade couples to use contraceptives.
अगर जो पति तो नहीं माना है तो ये कदम साथे रखो
So they are having different methods.
India is grappling with
දැන්
being
මේ අපි ට්‍රේන් එකක මෙහෙම යන්නේ නැහනේ. යන අවස්ථා තියෙනවා. මෙච්චර නෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේම මේ ඇඟේ ඇලවි කොහොම තමයි හැමදාම යන්න තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ කොහෙ ගියත් යන්න වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ පොඩි දුරකට පවා මේම තමයි යන්න වෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ ඒ තරම් population, right? Okay. බස් එකක ගියත් එහෙමයි.
populated country in history.
Problem නේ. Yeah.
Bihar is home to over 120 million people.
120.
And it's still growing.
අපේ ලංකාවේවත් නැහැ එච්චර.
Next decade, 1/3 of India's population increase will be driven by just 2 states, Bihar and neighboring Uttar Pradesh. Bihar's capital, Patna, which is home to
මේ පේනවනේ ඔක්කොම මට වෙන හැටි.
becoming
වීඩියෝ එකක් ගත්ත ගමන්.
which could land them a government job. But with each passing year, the pool of applicants is getting larger and the competition is getting harder than ever. 25-year-old Ravish Kumar is studying to qualify for a low-ranking job as a train driver in India's vast state-run railway.
ट्रेन ड्राइवर කෙනෙක් වෙන්න එක්සෑම් එකක් කරන්න වෙනවා.
4 बार आते हैं दिन। एक बार साइंस का फाउंडेशन क्लास करने,
දැන් ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් මේ ට්‍රේන් ඩ්‍රයිවර්ට ෆවුන්ඩේෂන් ක්ලාස් එකක් තියෙනවා science and maths. Understood? A train driver. तर හිතන්න කොච්චර කම්පිටිටිව් වෙලා දෙනවද කියලා.
फिर
ඒ ඕවර් පොපියුලේෂන්. ඉතින් එතකොට මේකත් එක්ක වෙන පරිසරයට වෙන හානි කොහොමද කියලා බලන්නකනේ.
4
ඇත්තටම පරිසරයක් දැක්කේ නෑ අපේ ඒරියා එකේනේ. Population and everything.
But getting a job seems like
දැන් මේ යන්නේ මොනවටද? මේ ක්ලාස් එකකට මේ ජොබ් එකට යන ක්ලාස් එකකට තමයි යන්නේ. ඉස්කෝලේ එල්ලවත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔහොම එන්නේ එළියටනේ. Isn't it? So it's that much populated, right? So that is a problem. So when these kind of things happen, what happens? Environmental problems, right? It collapses. When you need people to stay, when there are a lot of people, they don't have a place to stay, they will find new places, typically destroying the nature, right? Okay, let's write about that. Okay. All right. Right. So now during the period when the traditional agriculture was like main economic activity, the impact on the environment was minimal. Earlier, they used traditional methods for farming. They didn't use harmful chemicals. Now you know that in some areas in Sri Lanka, people started to uh, diagnose with kidney diseases, mainly due to fertilizer usage in agriculture. But early it was not like that. However, after the Industrial Revolution, the impact of man on environment became acute, increased. Damage caused to the environment and balance due to the expansion of agriculture. Now, if you have gone to a McDonald's, they say normally in a McDonald's in the whole world, Anuga, they sell around 10 million the koydo. Himage gana khadanalu dawasata burgers. Tore dahayata beef දානවලු. තොර beef උත් අපි එකතු කරොත් එහෙම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් 2 3 4 වගේ මිලියන් වගේ ගාණක් යනවා. තොර එච්චර සත්තු කොහොමද දවසකට සැරයක් ගන්නෙ මරන්නේ කොහොමද? තොර මොනවද මේ දෙන්නේ මේගොල්ලෝ? Artificial නේ. It's not real meat. What you eat is not real. So just imagine the damage. So if you use technology wisely, no problem. අමාරට ඔයාලට පෙන්නලා තියෙනවා කලින් අර app harvest කියලා company එකකින් indoor farming හරි ලස්සනට ඒ වැඩේ කරනවා. However, all the people of course they're not engaging in that. Now the environmental balance began to collapse due to the excessive action of waste material to the environment. ඕනවට වඩා කුණු විසික් කරන්න ගියා. Adverse effect on the components, that's what. So the collapsing of environmental balance in this manner is termed as environmental imbalance. ඔය අධික ලෙස පරිසරයට අපදර බෙදාපෙකින් තමයි ඕක විනාශ වෙලා ගියේ. That's what. I'll show you a video, right? Now here this is of course factors, factory farming, animal welfare, and the future of modern agriculture. The great meat debate, right? It's a documentary. Sometimes it's a sensitive area, right?
One of the biggest, if not the biggest, moral problem. 10 people in Europe eat meat. I call it.
මිනිස්සු 9ක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ කියන්නේ 10ක් ගත්තොත් 10න් 9 දෙනෙක් මස් කනවා යුරෝප් වල.
A wonderful problem. Wonderful problem because this problem has in itself the solution to many other problems. To satisfy the world's appetite for meat, we have created a gigantic global industry. We kill and eat more animals in a year than the number of human beings who ever lived on the planet from whenever we crawled out of the swamp. With devastating.
මේ අපි දවසකට මරණ සත්තු ගාන පෘථිවිය පටන් ගත්ත කාලේ ඉඳන් තිබ්බ ගානට වඩා වැඩික මිනිස්සු හිටපු ගානට වඩා වැඩි කියනවා. කියන්නේ දවසකට කියන අවුරුද්දකට මරණ ගාන, right? අවුරුද්දකට මරණ ගාන අපි පෘථිවියේ ජීවත් වෙච්ච කාලේ ඉඳන් හිටපු මිනිස්සු ගානට වඩා වැඩිලු. හිතන්නකෝ එතකොට just imagine the animals that we kill every year for food, right? So කියන්නේ සත්තු හැදෙන්න ඕන හින්දා නෙමෙයි for just to kill, right?
That's life. The suffering that we inflict on animals, we can't even imagine it. Not in our worst fantasies, not in the most horrific horror movie.
And it's not as if we're unaware of it. 73% of Germans and as many as 82% of French people reject the modern form of animal husbandry. So why do we live with a system that no one actually wants? This series searches for an answer.
We tend to assume that only vegans and vegetarians follow a belief system. But the only reason we may learn to eat pigs but not dogs, for example, is because we do follow a belief system.
ඒක අර කවුරු හරි කියපු දෙයක් හින්දානේ අපි ඒ දේ කරන්නේ නේ. අපි we eat chicken නේද අනුග. එතකොට අපි fish උත් කනවා. එතකොට අපි හරකත් කනවා. එතකොට ඌරත් කනවා. බල්ලා විතරක් කන්නේ. Understood? ඉතින් ඒක කවුරු හරි කියපු සිස්ටම් එකක් හින්දානේ. කවුරු හරි කිව්වා මෙන්න මේ අය කන එක හොඳයි. It's okay. cat. Yes. දෙසදු. ඔව් පූසා වල්ලා ගන්නෙත් නැහැ. So every animal is equal, right? එතකොට ඔය එක excessively අරගොල්ලෝ produce කරන එකත් ප්‍රශ්නයක්. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් කුකුලෝ ඕනවට වඩා produce කරනවානේ නේ. ඒතර ඒකට resources ඕනේ. ඒතර ඒකට ඉන්න තැන් ඕනේ. ඒතර ඒකෙන් වලින් වෙන අපද්‍රව්‍ය තියෙනවා. ඒතර it causes imbalance again, right? Okay.
Questions that concern the core of our humanity.
With that, sir, the fact that we are moral beings comes from having been trained over the millennia through hunting to be cooperative and to take social relationships seriously.
Where does the suffering come from? When was the first time a living being felt something?
The story starts out a little over 500 million years ago with sea scum on the ocean floor. It's called a microbial mat.
Our search takes us from the origins of the earth to a future in which meat is created without animals.
Media is being prepared in one tank, and then it feeds these two huge vessels. They can produce 500 kilograms of meat. This is essentially a cow a day in a room that is more or less the same of people's living room.
It ends with the question, will our children and grandchildren grow up in a vegan world?
So that's that, right? That's about food consumption, right? Okay, let's write a few lines about it, right? Right. Now, look at this video. Can we create the perfect farm, the future of our food? Right?
About 10,000 years ago, humans began to farm. This agricultural revolution was a turning point in our history that enabled people to settle, build, and create. In short, agriculture enabled the existence of civilization. Today, approximately 40% of our planet is farmland. Spread all over the world, these agricultural lands are the pieces to a global puzzle we are all facing. In the future, how can we feed every member of a growing population a healthy diet? Meeting this goal will require nothing short of a second agricultural revolution. The first agricultural revolution was characterized by expansion and exploitation, feeding people plants, forests, wildlife, and water, and destabilizing the climate in the process. That's not an option the next time around. Agriculture depends on a stable climate with predictable seasons and weather patterns. This means we can't keep expanding our agricultural lands because doing so will undermine the environmental conditions that make agriculture possible in the first place. Instead, the next agricultural revolution will have to increase the output of our existing farmland for the long term, while protecting biodiversity, conserving water, and reducing pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. So what will the future farms look like? This drone is part of a fleet that monitors the crops below. The farm may look haphazard, but it's a delicately engineered use of the land that intertwines crops and livestock with wild habitats. Conventional farming methods cleared large swathes of land and planted them with a single crop, eradicating wildlife and emitting huge amounts of greenhouse gases.
Greenhouse gases are getting.
This approach aims to correct that damage. Meanwhile, moving among the crops, teams of field robots apply fertilizer in targeted doses. Inside the soil, hundreds of sensors gather data on nutrients and water levels. This information reduces unnecessary water use and tells farmers where they should apply more and less fertilizer, instead of causing pollution by showering it across the whole farm. But the farms of the future won't be all sensors and robots. These technologies are designed to help us produce food in a way that works with the environment rather than against it, taking into account the nuances of local ecosystems. Lower cost agricultural practices can also serve those same goals and are much more accessible to many farmers. In fact, many such practices are already in use today and stand to have an increasingly large impact as more farmers adopt them. In Costa Rica, farmers have intertwined farmland with tropical habitat so successfully that they've significantly contributed to doubling the country's forest cover. This provides food and habitat for wildlife, as well as natural pollination and pest control from the birds and insects these farms attract, producing food while restoring the planet. In the United States, ranchers are raising cattle on grasslands composed of native species, generating a valuable protein source using production methods that store carbon and protect biodiversity. In Bangladesh, Cambodia.
Right. So that is what the different countries are doing. So we have to have a smart method, right, to increase this. Otherwise, will be a problem, right? Okay, let's write. Okay, finish writing. Right. So there are factors that causes environmental imbalance. Now, first one is like excessive utilization of resources. Now, in the environment, there are about like sometimes in from place to place there are different amount of resources, right? So if you consume all those resources together, it will be a problem, right? Have to like maintain some kind of a order. Now, when you're developing certain things also, if you do it irregularly, it might cause problems. The next one is, of course, it's a very common thing, right? Excessive burning of fossil fuels. It's happening around the world. Agrochemical is also used, right? So deforestation, it's very common, right? So reclamation of lowlands, රහත් භූමි කියන දේවල් අපත් කරගන්නවා. භූමිය improper technology, වැරදියට technology පාවිච්චි කරනවා, right? Now excessive burning of fossil fuels. Now look at this, right? Now, if we stop burning fossil fuels, what will happen? Right now here.
Welcome back to Save the Earth. Imagine a world where the air is clean, the skies are clear, and the planet thrives. Now, look around. From the fuel in our cars to the electricity in our homes, fossil fuels power modern life, but they come at a devastating cost. Today, we uncover the truth.
මතකද කොවිඩ් කාලේ වලට මතක නැත ඇති. කොවිඩ් තිබ්බ කාලේ ලොක්ඩවුන් එකත් එක්ක ඉන්දියාවේ එක නගරයක් දිල්ලි නගරේ මේ කියන්නේ කන්දක් තියනවලු. ඒ කියන්නේ කන්ද පේන්නේ නැල්ලු නගරෙට. හැබැයි කොවිඩ් කාලේ එක පේන්න පටන් ගත්තලු. ඇයි ඒ? එයා පොලියුෂන් නැති හින්දා. Just imagine, right? තර කොහොමද කියන්නේ?
About fossil fuels, how they're destroying our planet, our health, and our future. Let's break it down. What's driving progress is also causing destruction. Fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas are formed from the remains of ancient plants and animals buried for millions of years. They fueled our factories, cars, and homes for centuries. But this, a black gold, isn't as shiny as it seems. Let's see how they're harming us. When fossil fuels burn, they release carbon dioxide and methane, greenhouse gases that trap heat in the atmosphere. This leads to global warming, rising sea levels, and extreme weather. Think hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and droughts, more frequent and intense. Burning of fossil fuels release carbon dioxide and methane, which are greenhouse gases that trap heat in the atmosphere. This leads to global warming, rising sea levels, and extreme weather events already mentioned like hurricanes, wildfires, floods, and droughts, more frequent and more devastating. Burning fossil fuels releases dangerous pollutants like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. These cause respiratory illnesses, heart disease, and even premature death. Over 4 million people die each year due to outdoor air pollution. That's
4
more
million.
than wars, accidents, or malaria. From oil spills
Water,
in
land
landfills to
contamination.
toxic waste in rivers, fossil fuel extraction and transport pollute our water. Fracking, a method of
Express
extracting
Pearl
natural
නෞකාව
gas,
accident
contaminates groundwater and even causes earthquakes. Our soil, it's poison too, affecting agriculture and food security.
Mining and
Habitat.
drilling
මේ
operations.
තියෙන mining. ඕක දැන් ආය අර සෙල්ලම් පත්තියෝ වගේ වහලා දානවද නෑනේ. නේද? කොම්පිටු දැම වගේ වහලා දාන්න බෑ ඕක. ඕම්මම තියන්න වෙනවා. හාරවුව වගේ නෙමෙයි. ඉතින් ආය ඔය භූමිය මොනවටවත් පාවිච්චි කරන්න බෑ. You can't use it.
Destroy forests, wetlands, and marine ecosystems. Species lose their homes.
ඔව් දැක්කද?
Coral reefs bleach. Biodiversity suffers. All for energy we could get more cleanly. Fossil fuels are finite. Once they're gone, they're gone. And the more we extract, the harder and more dangerous it becomes. We're racing toward a cliff without brakes. The good news, we have
Right. So that is that. Okay. Factors that causes environmental imbalance. Right. Okay. Now look at this video about deforestation, right? Mm.
About it. It's in soaps, it's in shampoo, it's in
That is another problem, right? So when the ecosystem is stable and healthy, we call it sustainable. This means that it is capable of sustaining itself. මේ ecosystem එක තියෙනකොට එයාට තනියම ඕක ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන්. කාගෙවත් උදව්වක් ඕනේ නැහැ. Now, sustainable ecosystems have biodiversity. Now, there's a variety of species and organisms living there and contributing to it. So every ecosystem like get destroyed, it's already happening, right? 25% of the coral reefs have disappeared. 25 coral reefs නැති වෙලා තියෙනවා. තව අවුරුදු 30ක් යනකොට එකින් 60ක් නැති වෙලා යනවා. ඇයි? Ocean acidification හින්දා. Water pollution, illegal farming, that's why. If the coral reefs are gone, what will happen? They say the greatest or the largest coral reef, or we call it the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, is dying due to human activities. Right, let's write about that. Right. Okay. Now, look at this video about ocean acidification. Also, we call it coral destructions as well, right? Now, the ocean temperature, of course, it's rising every day, right? Due to that, everything is destroyed, right?
We've now had 3 major bleaching events on the Great Barrier Reef. In 98, 2002, and again just recently in 2016. We zigzagged along the whole length in a helicopter and fixed wing plane. We put about 100 people underwater. The extent and severity of this bleaching is off the chart.
Bleach vela.
Typically, a bleached coral is nutritionally compromised. But this time around, we discovered an additional phenomenon. Many of the corals we surveyed were already dead.
Dead. Marilla.
They actually cooked. And that's because the
Cook කියන මොනවා temperature හින්දා උණු වෙලා දිය වෙලා කියන්නේ විනාශ වෙලා. ඔව් ඔහොම තිබ්බ එකක්.
Already in 2016, severe coral bleaching had also been recorded across the Pacific Ocean, in Fiji, across the Indian Ocean, in the Maldives and the Seychelles, and even in the southern Red Sea. Similar events are predicted across the Caribbean and Micronesia. In a year in which the impacts of heat stress on the global ocean have reached unprecedented extremes, as the distribution of marine species continues to change, as storm surges continue to intensify, as sea ice and glacier melt accelerate, and as sea level rise and human displacement intensifies.
Countries around the world in Paris last year have committed to a rapid transition away from fossil fuels towards more sustainable, renewable energy.
Paris marked the moment when the world finally decided to heed the ever-rising mountain of evidence that had been piling up for years and began instead to galvanize our focus.
Il y avait une seule chose à réussir pour appliquer l'accord de Paris, c'est la réduction des émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Pour augmenter la résilience de l'océan, il faudrait bien sûr lutter contre le réchauffement climatique, donc monter en puissance sur les énergies renouvelables, y compris les énergies renouvelables marines.
All right. So that is what it is all about, right? Now, deforestation, of course, is also caused by illegal logging. And it's done for human needs and progresses. අපේ අවශ්‍යතාවයට තමයි ඕක කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එහෙම කරනවා කියලා ඕනවට වඩා විනාශ කරාම මොකද වෙන්නේ? තව ප්‍රශ්නයක් නේ. Yes. So more than 4.6 million hectares of forests have been burned down or cut out. Hectare million 4.6ක වනාන්තර එක්ක පුච්චලා තියෙනවා නැත්නම් කපලා දාලා විනාශ කරලා තියෙනවා. So how many species have extinct due to that? How many homes have been destroyed? So කොච්චර ගෙවල් නැති කරලා තියෙනවද? කොච්චර භූමියක් විනාශ කරලා තියෙනවද? So habitat lost for endangered animals නේද? බඳ වීගෙන යන අයටනේ. That's what. Even our apex predators are being affected. Like lions ලා වගේ අයටත් මේක ප්‍රශ්නයක්. Polar bears, they are having problem. Why? Climate change. Even the majestic mountain gorillas are also affected because their homes, of course, habitat is lost. So mainly due to human intervention, human activities. So illegal activities. So it's increasing day by day and nobody is giving any priority, right? Now, even these days you see war and violence everywhere. හැමතැනම යුද්ධ තියෙනවා, right? everybody killing, destroying cities, bombing and everything. So will it help the environment? No, it won't help. It will destroy the environment. That's what it's doing. So that is what. So we have to do something about it, right? Otherwise, it will destroy everything and we won't have anything for future, right? Okay, so next day we'll discuss more about this deforestation and ocean acidification and stuff elaboratively. Good night. Take care then, right?